So anyway, as Terry and I make our way back to Wisconsin, we're pretty much traveling every day and not spending time investigating an area much. So I've just kind of had to try and do my thing while I can. So we stopped in Rock Springs, Wyoming, which I thought was a crew change point on the UP, but it turns out that it was Green River, a few miles west of there. But I was thinking about the dichotomy of how, as a nomad, I've had this desire to wander for as long as I can remember. And so as a nomad, you embrace constant change. You look forward to the scenery rolling by and being in different places. But at the same time, I have this, issue with some change, and that is the buildings and architecture and things of the history I don't like to see go away. In Europe, the buildings have been around forever. In the U.S., we tend to tear them down and start with something new. So when I see buildings like the one that was the train station in Green River, and it's just going to fall apart, I don't see anybody wanting to rebuild it or maintain it. It's a bit sad to see that happening. So this one, and the great thing about a drone, you can kind of get a perspective of these things a little bit. But Green River is a really cool older town, and of course its history is based primarily on the railroad. And a lot of the towns, their existence of either being there or not, a lot of times depended on whether the railroad put a stop in, and they basically spaced these things according to the needs of steam engines back in the day. And so over time, some of them have thrived in the modern era and some not so much. But the change in the need for passenger depots and these magnificent structures that have many times disappeared, I'm sorry to see that, as much as I like the change. But this one in Green River is pretty cool. I enjoyed checking out the yard and the things where they service locomotives, give them their fuel, and they put sand in them. I don't know how many people realize that they use sand to get traction when they're first starting up a train. So they fill them with sand, and that's what the towers are here. But so Green River is an example of what can happen, and I'm pretty sure this depot is going to cease to exist. On the other hand, in Cheyenne, they've taken the depot there and embraced it, and it's a much larger community, so they've got some resources. But this is such a cool building, and I really am getting used to flying this drone and getting a little better with it after crashing it in California. But it's so small, and you can fly it. I got a controller for it, so I can fly it further away. And it's so small that you lose track of where it is because you're watching on the camera. You're watching the image in it, of what it's seeing, and that's kind of how you know where it is. So you got to be careful you don't get disoriented and lose it somewhere. But I filmed the train station here, and I love just the way the drone gives you a perspective you can't get. I don't know why the birds are squawking. But I took the drone then and flew it clear out over the railroad yard over to the old roundhouse, which the UP has kept. It's much smaller than it used to be. They've pared it down, but there's still a turntable there, and they do some steam engine restoration, I believe, and work in that roundhouse, or what's left of the roundhouse. But I thought it was cool that it was preserved. So not everything's going away anyway.